Hey guys, so I told you guys that I'm going to do some more macro tests. I got this auto macro tube for GFX. This is the Fotodiox Pro. It does have connectors, so this should actually work with autofocus as well, meaning it will work just like the Fuji extension tubes, but obviously this is a what is this, 40 millimeter or something like that, 45 millimeter. This is an 11 millimeter. So this will not get me anywhere that close, but it'll also be a lot less demanding on what the lenses need to do. There is another Fuji extension tube, which is, I believe, 20 millimeter. I was kind of looking for, because this gets me so close, and I don't really need that much anymore right now. So I was kind of looking for something that just gives me a little bit more close up, I guess. And this is one of the points that I kind of realized going through all this, that super close up macro photography, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of lenses out there. There's a lot of stuff that works really well with 35 millimeter or even smaller sensors. There's insane lenses now available that get you really close. I mean, all these long probe lenses that get in there. There's really nothing for medium format, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense to use medium format for that kind of stuff if you want to go that close up. And honestly, that's also not really something that I want to do. If I do want to explore that, I would probably just get a different body, or maybe crop on the sensor, because I'll still get something like 60 megapixels or something. So again, that's not really something that I'm looking at. I'm looking for more getting a little closer up. So I think that this ring is going to do this. So what I'm going to use this on, what I'm going to try, is obviously I have this 90 millimeter that I tested. This is like a drum now with this rubber lens cap on. I'm going to do this on the 90 millimeter, the, what is it, TT something. Then I have the AstrHori 75 millimeter with the floppy thing, and then I'm going to also try it on the 3570 Fuji. And for the simple reason that, once you get close up, especially with the really long tube, you're really stuck with pretty much, you have to move the camera in or out, so you're kind of stuck with the frame. Using, I'm hoping that using this on the zoom lens, on the 3570, will give me a little more leeway to work in terms of framing and distance and framing and how they work together. Because with these, I'm probably pretty much going to be very locked in on where to put the camera, where to put the lens, and the working distance. The one thing I'm also going to try and add a couple of shots with the Pentax 6.7. I have all these rings. There's one that's a really short ring. I'm going to try that. So I'm going to try that as well, throw that in, just to see how these lenses work compared to that older lens, because that is a dedicated macro lens. These are not macro lenses, so I'm pretty sure this will be good. I've tried this ring on these lenses before, just to kind of put it on there, and the first thing that I noticed was I don't know if this is something that with the AstrHori, but I guess you guys can hear this and see this, that this is loose. I would say it's pretty loose. Is it going to impact image quality? We'll see. It's so loose that I'm starting to think it might impact it. Obviously, this AstrHori is also you know, somehow the lens caps don't really tighten on this, so maybe it's this. I can't even get it on. So that's something that I noticed right away. Let me see this one, because I don't think I've actually tried it on this one yet. So this is a little wiggly as well, not as bad. So yeah, something to consider. Not ideal, obviously. Actually, let me try and get the 3570. Let's see. Obviously, contacts. Okay, so this is nice and tight. I'm assuming that this has to do with yes. So this is nice and snug. There's no movement there. That works pretty well. Let's see how close I can get with this. Oh wow. Okay, so this is autofocus works. That's pretty close. That's at 70 millimeter, 35 millimeter. Oh wow. Okay, I can get really close with this. So interesting. So we'll see how that works. And compared to these, obviously, okay, so I can get really close with 35 millimeter, but I'm already touching this with the lens shade. So again, as with everything in macro, there's always trade-offs, working distance, you know, so many different factors to consider. So I'm gonna try these. I hope I'm gonna keep everything in line. I'm not gonna do too many tests on variations on f-stops. I'm going to try to really compare these. What I'm looking at with these is I'm really going to try to compare these with ideal f-stops. So obviously with this would be like a, I would say f8. With this one, I would probably say an f4 or 5.6, and same thing here. Because it doesn't really, I'll show some other samples as well. So, all right, let's get to it. Okay, so these are the files. I figured I would shoot something that I would actually shoot for myself, and that was a hummingbird skeleton that I found. I didn't, you know, I found this in my yard. And interesting textures, you know. So I started out with the 90, with the TTArtisan 90 wide open. I figured I know I'd said I wouldn't do wide open, but I figured I'd give the whole range um, of f-stops. And the first surprise right there, as you can see, okay, so this is wide open. I know it looks soft because that's what it looks like with the small Fotodiox extension ring wide open. So this is very, very dreamy, I would say. And also, that was the first surprise that with the small ring, that was the closest I could get. So I know I said I'm not really interested in macro, like super close up, like bug eye macro, but I would say the distance of this was about a foot, and that is the maximum, that's the closest I could get. So this is obviously not, maybe for a very close-up headshot or something like that. Again, the depth of field is very shallow, so not sure I would use this with the depends on the application. So let me show you this. So this is wide open, as you can see. Not really usable. 1.25
2.5. This is f2, and this is getting better. We still have, I would say this is character. This is f2, not too bad. Again, I don't think that I would use this with the small extension ring. I was surprised that it wouldn't get any closer. I'm just going to keep going here. This is f4. And this is when things get okay. I would say there's no problem there. Can focus in a little bit. Looks pretty good. But again, this is, if this is the object, it's just, there's no real point to do this. And this is f8, where the lens definitely cleans up. Pretty much everything's in focus on this. More or less, yes. So pretty decent. So I figured, interesting. Let me try the Fuji 4 centimeter extension tube, which is the biggest one on the Fuji. Let me try that one on the 90, and that was actually pretty interesting because that was more usable. That was with this object, which is again that is about 3 inches long, about 3 inches long. That's something I would use. It's a good at that distance. This is again 1.25 wide open. And interestingly enough, the lens does pretty well with that extension ring. This is 2, where things get a little better. And this is absolutely, I mean, obviously it's very shallow depth of field. This is 4. Things are sharpening up. It's just the issue is obviously the depth of field, which is still very shallow. And this is f8. And I did shoot this f11 as well because I wanted to see if we'd get into diffraction, but from what I can tell, it did pretty well. So, I mean, the lens only goes to f16. F11 worked out pretty well. So that was a surprise. I did not think that the big extension ring on the 90 would work that well. Surprise right there. So next one is the AstrHori 75 millimeters. Same story, closest working distance, although this was quite a bit closer. I know that they pretty much look the same distance, but this is a 75 millimeter, and I had to get quite closer to get this. So this is 2.5, which is again, on that lens, the off the menu f-stop, and you can see the character is very similar to the 1.25. It just gets really dreamy, I guess. This is f4, where things are definitely clearing up and cleaning up. Again, problem is it's just I'm too far. Like I wouldn't use that much. I wouldn't waste that much space on this. So this is f8. Everything's clear, clean, looking good. But again, I would have to crop in all the way, so I'm not going to do that. So I tried the Fuji 4 centimeter extension tube with this 2.5. Again, very dreamy, but I would say this is what I would, in terms of the crop, this is what I would be looking for. Working distance with this is a little, again, I had to come a little closer. Not 100% sure about this. Is f8. Sharpness is great. Again, these lenses do pretty well with these extension rings. So I'm surprised. And this is 11, I believe. Yes, this is 11. So yeah, pretty much what you would expect, but doing pretty well. So now went over to the Fuji 3570. I started at 70 millimeters. Obviously, that lens at 70 starts at 5.6. So I started at 5.6. I used autofocus with this lens, and that is something that is the extension ring works, macro ring works with the autofocus. But this is the 70 with the extension rings at 5.6. So yeah, so far for these Fuji lenses are very, very much optimized for their range, for what they're made for. Pretty much they're not meant to be used with any extension rings or anything like that. Which again, I find a little frustrating that it's this is f8. Definitely looks a lot better, but we're at f8. I'm pretty close. Again, working distance, not that great with that lens. Autofocus happened to be okay on this one. I did go to f11, and I think this is where things got a little weird because the lens started to focus back here. Now, I didn't move the lens. I just changed the f-stop. I think I actually changed it on the laptop because I was shooting tethered. So, yeah, focus definitely moved back a little bit. I tried a couple of shots and it did the same thing again. This is clean, but this is to be expected. This is f11. So I did one more in f16. And again, the f-stop is, it focuses back there. Everything's great and sharp back there. Not losing anything. The feather is completely in focus. Not a bad frame either, I have to say. So this would be, I guess I could switch to manual focus on this. I was surprised that the autofocus didn't do a better job on this character. This is f16. It works. This is good. So this is with the short extension tube. This is with the Fotodiox, the 11 millimeter, which, so I guess if I want to use the zoom lens, and I want to get this kind of crop, it's a little wide. I wish I would a little tighter, but that's as close as I could get. Working distance is pretty close, and we're at f16 on this. So then I switched to the I think 45 millimeter, because the working distance at that point gets really close. f16, very similar. Yeah, not 100%. So then I tried the Pentax. This is the 135 Pentax macro with, I chose the medium extension ring that I had, which is about 2 centimeters, I believe, which gave me, with the adapter, pretty much gave me that frame, the frame that I would pretty much want from a lens like that for this subject. And I started out at f4, which is pretty much the opening, the wide open. You can see there's quite a bit of chromatic aberration, focus fall off, obviously. Yeah, not sure there's really a reason to use this lens. This would be f8. Things get better. Still chromatic aberration. Yeah, not not 100% sure why I would use this. And this is a f16. I went straight to 16 because I figured, okay, that would be an f-stop. The lens goes to 32, and that would kind of be the sweet spot on that lens. It's a macro lens, older design, so I don't really see any chromatic aberration. Sharpness is okay. Depth of field is pretty good. So this looks pretty decent. Definitely works. So again, interestingly enough, I think that I ended up shooting, actually getting a shot that I like, and I ended up I figured the lens that I really liked was the 90 with the Fuji with the long Fuji extension tube, and that is the shot that I came up with. So this is a little worked on, a little retouched. Okay, this is taking a little bit to get into focus here. Fall off is nice. I'm not sure why this is not coming into focus here. Oh, here we go. So this is looking good. I like the fall off. I like what's in focus. This is at 100% zoomed in. So I just bumped up the contrast a little bit, adjusted the color slightly, but this is pretty much the frame of the shot that I would like. And this is going to be, this is print size 22 by 40. So this will be a 24 by 30 print, which I'm going to run pretty soon. Yeah. So this is a, like I said, 24 by 30 print from a, I would say 2.5-inch object, and that looks absolutely fantastic. So I think for that size object with that working distance, good working distance, the 90 was great, worked fantastic for me, and that might be again surprised that the Fuji 4 centimeter extension tube worked so well on it. I obviously don't know what the corners would be doing with this lens. I didn't see any fall off. I shot this on a white background to see if there would be any fall off. I don't know how flat the field is. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to run a couple more tests on this. But yeah, so far this has worked out great. I'm positive I'm gonna do a bunch more macro, or I'm not gonna call them macro, close-up photography tests, because this is something that I'm really interested in. And I'm gonna probably do some more flat field tests with this, but I will try to. I'm gonna narrow it down to that TTArtisan with 90 with the 4 centimeter Fuji tube, because that's a good. I think that's kind of the crop that I'm looking for. So I hope you guys like that and got something out of it. And yeah, thanks for watching.